Welcome to Start Dakota, a show by Startup Sioux Falls where we dispel misconceptions about starting a business, uncover unique challenges faced by founders, highlight today's problem solvers, and build a stronger startup community for tomorrow. This project is powered by the SBA. Now, here's your host, Brienne Maner.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Start Dakota, brought to you by Startup Sioux Falls, powered by the SBA through our Community Navigator pilot program grant. Today, we're going to be speaking to Desiree Donovan of Donovan's Diamond Details. I love the alliteration. And I'm excited to hear about her journey through our Co-Starters program and where she's at with her business. So welcome, Desiree.
Thank you.
So, first question I have, in 30 seconds or less, can you introduce yourself and share a little bit about the business?
My name is Desiree, and I am a, 40-year-old as of today.
Happy
it is
birthday.
my birthday. Thank you very much. I am a mom of three, married. I moved to Sioux Falls 5 years ago with no intentions of starting a business. I spent 25 years in restaurants and hospitality industry.
Okay.
Most of that is management. Since I was 19, I've always been a leader, apparently. So moved up in the food chain pretty quickly. So that has given me a lot of skills to kind of decide where I want to go long term. Probably a year ago, I was like, you know what? I need to do something for myself. I was working for another cleaning company. Felt like I could do a little better job on my own and decided, okay, let's start planning for 2022. February 2022 was my goal. I bailed on it. I did, and decided, nope, I need to stay stable. I need to stay where I'm at. And actually applied for Co-Starters on a whim.
Okay.
So
that's interesting to me. So you said you didn't want to take the leap because you wanted to stay stable.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean by that? What were the barriers and the hesitations that you had about this leap into entrepreneurship?
The very first one was financial, personally, right?
Sure.
Like, how am I going to keep my foot solid to take care of my family? That's been my main goal for, obviously, that's everybody's goal.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit of a hustler. So I've always had 1, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I've managed 2 different restaurants at one time as assistant manager. So, and for me, it was like, okay, how do I give this up for the unknown? I'm terrible at the unknown.
Are you a planner?
Yes, 100% down to you should see the paper and scribbles that I have for this business.
Well, 3 kids will do that to you as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I wasn't ready. I just wasn't ready.
Sure.
It wasn't time.
So what made it time when this opportunity arose? What changed?
In July, I was very, very unhappy.
Okay.
Very unhappy. And was trying to decide, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to change jobs? Am I going to jump into this? What am I going to do? Co-Starters came across my Facebook page, and I was like 3, 4, 5, 6 times. It kept like popping up. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Forget it. We're going to apply. And I applied.
So if we harass you enough, you'll take the plunge, right?
I did. Yeah, I guess it was the universe screaming at me is what I officially decided it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Decided to apply, just wrote a random bio about myself and was very surprised to get in.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you kind of explained your why behind starting the business. Through the Co-Starters platform, there's a lot of talk about customer discovery.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about who your customer is and what problem you're trying to solve for them?
So Sioux Falls has 2 things. A very booming construction, home building world, which is where eventually I'd like to kind of be, is in post-construction.
Okay.
I like making the new shiny for the new owners. And the second thing we have is a lot of families, right? Like we're growing. We've got a lot of young families. We've got a lot of new people moving in, and buying those new homes. So, and I think with our lives being busy, just in general.
Yeah.
We don't have any time, and our homes take a lot of that neglect. My own home takes that neglect so that everybody else doesn't have to. That's going to change.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I
That's
feel like
okay.
We need to do something for you, especially on your birthday.
Yes. So eventually the benefit of my company will be anybody who works for me will have a house clean every month.
Okay.
That'll be a benefit and I don't know any other cleaning company that does that, but I think it's a benefit that we could easily offer. It's just time. So that's kind of...
So, and that being said, this is a busy space industry-wide. There's a lot of cleaning services, a lot of independent cleaning professionals.
There is.
What makes you stand apart? Why is your solution different from all the rest?
So I've actually run into this quite a bit lately with some of my newer clients that have had the same cleaning lady for 15 years or have had Mary Maids for 15 years.
Yep.
Is one, some of the inconsistency with the bigger companies. Turnover rates in those kinds of companies are just as high as you see in restaurants and hospitality. So you never know who's coming into your home, which is obviously for some people a big red flag.
Sure.
And the other side of it, too, I think with the individual companies, even if it's one coming in or two coming in like me, sometimes I think you still become a number. Like it becomes a very habit-forming ritual when you walk into somebody's house. I walk into somebody's house and I see, okay, well, we definitely had hockey this week. We had baseball this week. Like I see those things. I don't just walk in and see the mess. I see all the things that have added up to the chaos, right? And then I just give it a lot of love. I really do. I enjoy what I do. I sing and dance a lot while I do this. I apologize to any of my clients that have cameras.
You better be on TikTok.
I am not. And my daughters, my twin daughters are 19, and they have also kind of, you really ought to pay attention. I said, no. If anybody goes on their cameras, they could probably make a YouTube channel of cleaning ladies, because I guarantee you there is some hilarious antics. 100%.
Oh, that's awesome. 100%. So recently, EmBe, which is the cohort that you graduated out of, hosted a 100-year anniversary celebration. Yes. And they brought in the woman from the television show on Netflix called Maid, M-A-I-D. Did you happen to attend this?
I did not.
Okay, well, it was something really special. This woman told her story. She was homeless, trying to raise a child, escaped out of an abusive relationship, and started cleaning homes. She talked a lot about the dignity of these types of jobs.
Right.
And I'm curious from your lens what it's like in this world as far as like level setting, how the cleaning profession is just as important as doctors, lawyers, you name it. And I had another thought there, but just talk about that a little bit for me. You know, just what is that like to navigate? So
we were actually just discussing that a little bit before we started was the stigma surrounding having a housekeeper or a maid or a cleaning service, however you want to label it. Back before in the 50s and 60s, the housewives took care of everything, but they also didn't have full-time jobs or full-time plus jobs, right?
Right.
And then still have to come home and take care of your babies and make sure the laundry's done. I don't do laundry. I don't like doing my own laundry, but
Desiree's rules of the home, no laundry.
Right. But there's definitely a stigma surrounding that. And one of the things that I do that no other cleaning company does is I actually, after I've walked into your home and I've cleaned it and I've staged it, because I do stage every home. And you walk into this magazine cover house is what I try to accomplish. I take pictures. I always ask for permission, of course. And I post them up on my business page. And then those clients get to see their beautiful home up there for everybody else to see. And that is a sense of pride that there shouldn't be a stigma around that.
Right.
There shouldn't be, we ask for help for every other aspect of our life. This is just another easy way to make your life just a little bit calmer, right?
Absolutely.
My line is, let my sparkle bring clean, calm peace to your space. And so, like, when you come home, I want you to take that, oh, it smells great in here and everything's so nice. And I hand wipe every spindle on the banisters, right? So, like, the tiny details. Your kid left that smudge of peanut butter and jelly on the kitchen wall. That's gone today. Mm-hmm. One of the houses I cleaned for last week was funny. There was a sticky hand up on the chandelier. I'm not sure how long it had been there. It was pretty gnarly. Me and the 6-foot Swiffer got it done, and the sticky hand came down. So Mom's like, yeah, that's been up there a while. I said, it's not there no more.
So I thought of the other question that it was kind of a counterpart to that question, but a lot of folks in our entrepreneurial ecosystem, we discovered over time, don't necessarily identify with that term.
Right.
How am I an entrepreneur? I'm not, I don't have a tech business. I don't, there's just a certain, we've wedged ourselves into a corner with the terminology. Right. How has the Co-Starters program helped change your view of what entrepreneurship is?
I was definitely one of those people. I think I still kind of am. Yeah. And part of that might just be my own confidence in, my steps forward personally. Yep. But for me, that word, it was intimidating when I walked in the door the first night. And because you don't think of, because some of these ladies have got some fantastic gigs, right? Sure. And so I was like, it's just a cleaning business, right? Like I kind of closed down in on myself for the first couple classes. One thing that I have learned is even though I don't necessarily feel like I have this booming business sitting in front of me right now, all of the skills that I have built over the last 20 some years in management even have given me so much more information and so much more than I thought I had. Yeah. And I was actually able to offer some of that to some of those other ladies. One lady's starting a restaurant. So eventually for me to get in with her and help her, like I told her, anytime you want to cater, I'll come hang out with you. I'll come cater with you. I feel like it is an intimidating word, and I don't think I've even settled in on that. Like even small business, like any of those words right now for me are still a little intimidating. Sure. I've sat down and done all of the work to plan out my next year, and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that's business. That's definitely a small business. Yes, that is what I am doing. The putting the label on it scares me.
I get it. I appreciate that. It's really interesting to hear it from different industries. So that said, what has been the most challenging part of starting your business?
Putting myself out there. Okay. 100%, including this podcast.
Okay. Well, you're doing great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, just putting myself back out there. The last couple years, I've been kind of closed off from the world, like most of us have. Right. When I left hospitality, and you're in front of people all day, every day for 12 hours, and it was like, I have to go back out into the real world, and I have to try to promote myself. How do I promote myself? Like how do you take all of these insecurities and go, now I have to tell the world that I'm this great person, right? I'd like to think I'm a great person, but it is very hard to kind of push yourself out into that realm and go, okay, now I really have to do this. Yeah. For me, for whatever this adventure might end in, whether it's, drops down and fails or skyrockets and does everything I want it to do. So
interesting.
For me, it's about the peace at the end of it, finding where I come home at the end of the day and I'm like, yep, this was a good day.
Awesome.
So
we're going to put a pin in it. I feel like this is a good place to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to hear more about her experience with Co-Starters and how hopefully that's helped her develop a little bit more self-confidence and other exciting things. So we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Amos, the community coordinator at Startup Sioux Falls, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Start Dakota is hosted by Startup Sioux Falls. We provide resources to make starting a business easier, including events, programs, mentorship, ecosystem navigation, and an actual space. If you have ever aspired to launch something of your own or run a business currently, we want you to join our community. Start with Startup Sioux Falls at startupsiouxfalls.com/start. We're excited to connect with you. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. Now let's get back to the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Start Dakota podcast. Today we are talking with Desiree Donovan about her experience with the EmBe cohort. And EmBe, if I haven't explained that, is an acronym for Empowering You to Be, formerly the YWCA of Sioux Falls. So this organization has been around for over 100 years, supporting and empowering women to be the best that they can be. So just to give a little background there, that kind of leads us into our next question, Desiree. So you were a graduate of this Co-STARTERS EmBe cohort. I want to know, and I'm going to give you a little backstory here. I looked at your application when you applied, and when asked what you were hoping to get out of the program, you said, "The tools and connections I need to make a dream a reality. I have worked hard for everyone else, and now I want to work for myself. I need strong minds to help me organize and navigate my way through making myself a success. I want to have the resources and knowledge to run my business efficiently and successfully." I see you getting emotional. Wow. I want to hear how this program has changed you. And take a minute. Take a minute if you need to.
Oh, the first 2 classes were tears.
Lots of tears.
Yeah. You kind of do that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Didn't know that was going to
Deep
elicit
stuff on
such a
here
response
today.
here.
I know. And that's kind
glad.
of me as a person.
I'm glad.
I put a lot into what I do.
Yep.
I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So much in such a few sentences.
Yeah. It's like your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is for a lot of people. That's what makes this so impactful and special, to be honest with you.
Right. And for me, because I failed at this 10 years ago,
Yeah.
when I was just trying to support my little kids.
Yep.
Now it's not about supporting them. 2 of them are adults, even though
so
they're still
fast.
living at home,
Oh.
but they are adults and on their own adventures.
Yeah.
And I needed something for me.
Mhm.
I mentioned earlier, this is my 40th birthday.
Yeah.
10 years ago when I got divorced and ventured out with 3 little kids on my own. We lived in a camper
Mhm.
for 2 months while I got my stuff together.
Yep.
And I look back at that
Mhm.
and I know I've done everything I can for them now.
Yep.
Now I need something for me
Yeah.
to feel proud.
Yep.
And I think as, I want to get this right because it was important to me. I think as moms in general, women,
Mhm.
there's an unbelievable amount of pressure to sacrifice. And this is going to sound really selfish. And I'm going to say it because I know other women think it.
Mhm.
I'm done sacrificing.
Mhm.
Done sacrificing for everybody else.
Mhm.
I want to be me for me.
Yeah.
And if this business,
Give me goosebumps.
if this business is that, which right now I feel wholeheartedly it is, I know that I have done everything I can for me.
Yep.
Even if I fail at it, I know I tried. I've failed 10 times. I've gotten up 11, and I'll keep getting up.
That's honestly, like, you just encapsulated the entrepreneurial journey and mindset so beautifully. That's what it's all about. It's about picking yourself back up when times get tough. And there's no better example of that than you. And I have no doubt that your children have benefited from watching you fail and try again. So kudos to you for taking control of your life, essentially. That's incredible.
Thank you.
What an incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing that on your dang birthday.
I know, right? Bringing me to tears. I can cry on my birthday.
So if we want to dig in, we'll try to lighten it a little bit so I can get you squared here. But I want to talk about the Co-Starters curriculum and the journey that you were on, and what the most important discovery or business problem you worked through during those 10 weeks. Like, where were those aha moments for you?
Usually on the hardest weeks.
Yeah.
The first 3 or 4 weeks, is pretty lighthearted stuff. Like, you're trying to figure out your ideas. You're coming up with a name. You're, some of the gals were just putting down bits and pieces on paper, because we had so many different levels of business at that point.
Yep.
From ideas to fully operational for the last 2 years or 5 years previous to that. So, which I also enjoyed quite a bit of that. But once we kind of got into financials and how to really get into the deep grit and the stuff that happens behind the scenes that nobody wants to think about, right? Okay, we want a business, we want the money. Now everything back there is scary. This class was great for that. I was lucky in the sense that, like, when I applied, I already had my idea. I'd been planning for kind of a year. I had a pretty good basis of where I wanted to go, but was stuck. And then with this class, I feel like kind of almost followed it to a T. All of our guest speakers talked about that moment when they went, this is it. I'm quitting my job.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've done. I went from it being a side gig and like, okay, maybe I want to go ahead and jump into this, to within probably 5 weeks, I had put in my 2 weeks notice and then quit my job shortly after that. Like, I think it was within a week. And decided, okay, this is what we're doing. This is it. It's now or never.
You went all
and
in.
I jumped. And every one of those ladies have talked about that. All of the guest speakers have talked about that day where it just hit them and they're like, yep, today's the day. I need to jump. For me, I talked about earlier that stability for me was really hard to walk away from.
Right.
But everything inside of me was telling me it was time. And I walked into class the day that I quit, and they cheered and they loved it, and they were super excited that I did it.
They're terrifying and they're full of excitement at the same time.
But for them to all have my back and show me that it was okay, that I made the right decision, and to have that extra support was great.
That is awesome.
But the nitty gritty, the financials, the legals, all that nasty stuff in the background, it really forced me to sit down and go, okay, what can I handle? What can't I handle? I know long-term I can't handle some of those things.
Sure.
For now, I'm all of it.
You can't be everything, right?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I'm thinking a lot about the word stability now, and just the mechanisms that our country give us to be stable and allow ourselves to take these types of leaps. I think about affordable housing for one thing, because you're kind of in that space of, making homes better and brighter, and also like access to healthcare. Can you talk about your experiences trying to navigate those waters, leaving a full-time job and diving into entrepreneurship, and how that experience went for you?
So I'm probably a little bit of a strange case, which is why that entrepreneurial word is so hard for me sometimes. I was working I worked for a cleaning company. That's what I did. I was the lead. I was the second in command for a great lady. She was fantastic. She was my best friend for 2.5 years. And I'm very happy to have worked with her. And I didn't have health insurance. I didn't have vacation. I didn't have those kind of things. I've always been a hustler. So I always made things work, right? But I am one of those people that doesn't have health insurance. Now I have started now where, there's options out there, especially now starting in the small business, the options you can kind of navigate a little bit more. So I'm hoping that'll change. But I think in general, we kind of lack all the way around as a country on that side of things. But
absolutely.
That's
and
personal.
It's a timely question because there is an initiative coming on the ballot for Medicaid expansion, and I'm assuming that would benefit you and your family.
Right. Yep.
So
yeah, 100%. I think there's a definite divide there. And I mean, for those like me that are just still kind of on that same playing field where it's like, okay, well, you've either got to put groceries or you've got to pay us $600 in insurance.
Right.
So for me, it's an easy choice. I know that sounds silly. I go to the doctor when I need to. I pay out of pocket when I need to. It's very rare,
Yeah.
but I do it. And so, but you just do what you got to do and deal with consequences later, you know.
Well, I'm really excited to hear about what the journey holds for you moving forward and what your needs are. But we're going to take one more quick break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Business Minute, a recurring segment powered by the SBA, where we'll share business facts and resources available to entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. Small Business Administration. This is Sadie Sweer, Executive Director of SD CEO East Women's Business Center. Did you know there are roughly 12 million women-owned businesses in 2017, with $388.1 billion in payroll and 10.1 million employees? However, women remain underrepresented in small business ownership, as women-owned firms make up only 20% of all employer firms. Interested in starting a business or already own a business? There are many free resources available. One of those resources is SD CEO. SD CEO is a resource organization focused on empowering women in entrepreneurship across South Dakota by providing entrepreneurs with the resources they need to succeed. Along with free and confidential business consultations, SD CEO offers in-person workshops, online training courses, educational seminars, and networking opportunities. Learn more about SD CEO at bhsu.edu/SDCEO.
Welcome back to Start Dakota. We're talking with the incredible Desiree Donovan about her journey in life and how that led her to entrepreneurship. And speaking of journeys, now that the 10-week cohort is behind us, that's certainly not the end of the journey. What's next for you, and what kind of resources do you need to get to the next level with your business?
For me, it's a steady build right now.
Yeah.
I do a lot of self-promoting. My Facebook page that I talked about earlier, I actually build all my own ads. Back in another lifetime, I worked for a newspaper and learned how to build ads.
Jeez.
So I do build all of my own ads and all of my own promo stuff online. But it's build. I'd like to be able to bring my daughter on full time. She's working with me part time right now.
Great.
Little sweat equity for living in the house. But it's great for me on the bigger houses. And then she learns. She worked with me for a year during COVID, actually, at the cleaning company her senior year. So she's got a lot of time under her belt doing this as well.
Nice.
And so bringing her on full time, I'd like to bring on somebody else full time. Like I want to move this in a direction where eventually I can do post constructions for all of these new builds around here. And I would also like to eventually get into hoarding, crime scenes, unattended deaths, some of those kinds of things. Sounds gnarly to some.
You have identified some really specific markets. That's really interesting.
Yes, and it is a limited market.
Sure.
It's a lot of work to get there. It's going to take a lot of building of all the other stuff first.
Of course.
But ultimately, I'd like to be with people in the times of, you know, when they need somebody there that's not going to be judgmental and isn't going to look at them and go, whoa, you know, no, I'm going to come in with that same love that I do in a clean house. So
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you think as a startup community, we call it an ecosystem, what do we need to be talking more about? And what do we need to provide more of? Where do you see gaps through your experience so far?
Again, I've kind of talked a few times. I'm a little out of the norm in this because I'm just jumping in with both feet.
Yep.
But I think just the community coming forward and staying local. I know it's really easy to outsource and do different things, but really staying local, helping, you know, your next door neighbor that's got a small lawn cleaning company or your lawn care company, or, you know, people like me. Hey, your girlfriend started a cleaning company. You know, I'm going to pass your name out to a few people. We just really need each other.
We do.
And I think especially that's one thing I've learned with the class in general is the connection. So I've done a few cleans for a few of the gals in class, and the facilitator is on my schedule.
That's awesome.
And so those connections have led me into other connections, led me into this.
Yeah.
And and has also kind of lit a little fire in me of wanting to step more into helping other women navigate some of this stuff that I've maybe been through. They just don't know how.
Right.
I'm not a counselor. I'm not your mental health professional. But man, I can be that girlfriend that meets you for coffee and just helps you out that day if you need it. We all need a little help somewhere.
I have no doubt that anybody listening to this episode it's going to turn a light on. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Mentorship is a big part of the experience of co-starters. And I know that you were all offered the opportunity to be paired with a mentor. Can you talk a little bit about any mentoring experiences you've had of being mentored?
I haven't had a lot. Honestly, a lot of it has happened in the class.
Okay.
As far as that's concerned, I mean, I did meet with a few people outside of class, but ultimately a lot of the learning that I did on that side of things came from within that class, whether it was the guest speakers, some of the women that we had in there that have done some crazy, scary, and amazing things. And I talked about borrowed power, like almost the first or second class. I can't even remember, and I don't even remember why the term popped into my head.
Borrowed power.
And it's kind of become my phrase all through class.
Okay.
And one of the things I needed from this class, or was hoping to get from this class, was self-confidence in myself, knowing that I could move forward with anything I needed to do. I borrowed that power from those other women.
Okay. I like that.
It's something that, I mean, I know it doesn't make any sense necessarily, but you feel it when you walk in a room. You really do. When you know that everybody that you just walked into is 100% have their hand on your back and are going to push you towards whatever it is you're looking at. We had some women in there with some big goals that were going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then I looked at mine that I started with 1,000 and I'm like, well, that's a totally different world than what I'm doing, but she still needs my back. She still needs every ounce of, hey, yeah, you can do this. Put your crown on. Let's go.
Put your crown on. I love that.
She did not. I'm going to call her out a little bit on this. She did not come to graduation. She was scared about getting up and doing her pitch.
No.
She has a fantastic idea, and I think that she will 100% find her path. It's going to take her a little bit longer maybe, but I think it's something that Sioux Falls needs, and it'll be great in the end. But that borrowed power, that borrowing from the gal sitting next to you, knowing that they're going through the same thing you are. Regardless of what level of business we were in.
Right.
We all gave each other the same amount of love and the same amount of confidence. So that was a lot for me. That was a lot for me.
Wow. So what do you want those listening to know about your business? Like inherently, like what's the thing that's going to drive you forward, and what kind of support can the listeners provide to you?
For me, coming on here, it was a little bit about promoting my business. Sure. Like I said, I do a lot of self-promoting. But for me, anybody that would message me or call me or wants to be part of my long-term goals would be knowing that my love is going to go into your house. Every ounce of sweat that I pour while I'm there, or bang of the finger, or bruise on the knee, because it happens all the time. Every bit of that is so that you can take pride and love in your home when you come home. And so for me, it's not so much about where I want to go with my business, but what I can do along the way, for other moms or dads or grandmas, or been into lots of different houses.
You're about to create a movement, and I'm excited to see where things go. I'm excited. It's been a privilege to have this conversation with you. We're going to take one more short break, and when we come back, we're going to do a lightning round. Ooh. So we can get to know Desiree on a different level.
Okay.
So we'll be right back.
Interesting.
Hey, this is Jeff Hayward with Startup Sioux Falls. Welcome back to the Co-Starters Challenge, a recurring segment where we'll provide some tips for launching or growing your startup, as well as an action you can take called fieldwork. Today's segment is about marketing. That's a simple term, right? Well, it depends on how you define it. For some, marketing is mass mailing flyers or emulating a TikTok trend as a sales channel. For us, we define marketing not as sales, but as the process of building relationships with your customers, getting them to know, like, and trust you. In order to properly market, you need to develop a clear message. That's the main idea you want to communicate about your business, focusing on how you solve your customer's problem as well as the benefit. Your fieldwork is to take a stab at your message and add it to your canvas. What does your customer need to know? What's the most important information? How can your message make your customer like and trust you? All right, that's it for this episode. Good luck on your fieldwork, and I'll see you next month.
All right, well, welcome back. We're into our final segment here with Desiree Donovan. It has just been a pleasure to get to know you and hear about your experience through the program, and just who you are as a human being is just so beautiful. So thank you for sharing.
I appreciate that.
Now we're going to do something fun to
Okay.
kind of clear our brains a little bit, but it's a lightning round.
Okay.
So I just want to know a little bit more about you. So my first question, I'm dying to know, what is your favorite go-to cleaning product?
Ooh, okay. So I talked about this a little bit. It's been a trial and error process.
Okay.
The first couple of houses I did, I tried 2 different products at
Yep.
this house,
Like
this
2
kind.
different brands,
right?
kind of
Trying
thing?
to decide what I liked
like
better.
it.
And I've actually settled on Method, which you can buy at like
Yeah.
Walmart or anywhere. The lemon verbena
Okay.
is fantastic. It works great on wood floors, and the smell. Everybody loves the smell.
That's so interesting.
The minute that you like run your mop water with it, the whole house smells amazing.
Method, if you're listening.
Method.
There's a sponsorship
There-
opportunity
it
here.
is. It's great. It's absolutely great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, it depends on the time of day.
Okay.
Yep.
Same.
Arnold Palmer. I can
Ooh,
never
I know.
say it.
It's a
Half and halfies in
tongue
the
twister.
afternoon. Yes. But
Yeah.
coffee in the morning. for
Coffee in the
sure.
morning. Yep, I can't go past noon or I turn into a gremlin
Yep,
is what I
yep.
say. I love it. Hoodie or blazer?
Definitely the hoodie.
And can
Sport-
we get a shot of the
sporting
back? I don't know if
mine.
you can like back it up into the camera a little bit, but this is like, she's got some logo wear on and it is just gorgeous.
Yes.
I love the tie-dye. Is there any significance to the tie-dye?
I
you a
just
hippie?
love bright. I
Okay.
really do.
It speaks to your
It does.
personality, that's
It
for sure.
does. All of my like ads that I run for specials are called sparkle specials. Yeah.
Oh.
So
I love it.
yeah.
Beer or wine? Or
Beer.
neither? Okay, beer.
Beer all
Okay.
day long.
Is there
Yep.
a particular kind of beer that we
Not
like? Are you a
necessarily.
craft beer person?
I'll try it all once.
Okay.
Some of it, if I have to chew it, not so much.
I have to
but-
chew it?
Yeah,
Is
if I
that
have
what
to
you
chew it. Yeah, that stuff that you like look at it, you're like, oh,
What's floating in
yeah,
there?
what is that? But I'll give it a try once.
All right. I like it. Instagram or LinkedIn? Do you partake?
Oh my gosh, neither.
Neither? Girl, we need to get you on.
I know.
Yep.
I know. I'm telling you, my 19-year-olds right now, when they hear this, they're going
Yep.
to be like, what, Mom? You can't admit that. I'm admitting it. Yeah. I am
Well, you're
that
gonna get-
Facebook generation.
You're
Yep.
going to get bombarded by a bunch of marketing professionals, just so you know,
100%.
including myself. TikTok or nah? I think we already talked about it. But I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
have
you're
it.
yeah.
Nope. Again, my girl's pushing me. You need to make a TikTok. You need to show people what you do.
I love the idea of like the YouTube or your camera. You know, it's
Yep.
just, that's so interesting. Chocolate or vanilla?
Mm.
Or both?
Ooh, probably a little bit of both.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I like chocolate ice cream with strawberry topping. Highly recommend it.
Okay. Are you a sports fan?
A little bit. Yep.
Baseball or football?
Probably more football.
Football?
Yep.
Who's your team?
I'm a Broncos fan.
Broncos.
Yep. A little weirded out by the whole.
How do you choose a team?
I don't really know. I was in high school and they were kind of big back then when they won back-to-backs
Yeah.
and just kind of went with it and I've stuck with it. And it's, yeah, my husband's a San Francisco fan, so there's a little bit of
There's a little rivalry
little love
going
there,
on.
yeah,
Perfect.
but-
I love it.
we play softball in our house.
You
so
do?
I can't really say baseball because it's 2 totally different worlds, but we
Gotcha.
do. We play a lot of softball. We coach and we all play.
Your coach?
I coach.
That's
I play.
great.
I manage.
So many entrepreneurs are also coaches. That's
Yep.
really
Yep.
interesting. Explains a lot about you. Favorite movie or book?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't
Digging deep now.
I haven't read a book in a long time.
You are brave to admit that, but I'm
Right?
sure there are more people than
It's
would
been a
care to.
long while. Favorite movie? I'm a Goonie. This is totally going to age me. I'm 40
Nope.
today,
Hey, girl,
and
I'm with
I am
you.
a Goonie through and through.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Goonie, Dirty Dancing, all the 80s classics for sure.
go hang out.
Yeah.
For real. Last question is, name an entrepreneur either locally or across the globe that you admire,
Ooh,
or a business.
Ooh, that is a tough one. I'd like to say all of the women in this class because they are so fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Counts?
Honestly, Raina, the facilitator,
She's so great.
Her whole story has been fantastic to learn and hear. Going from corporate world, because that's obviously not where I came from,
Right.
Into what she does now is, again, one of them high caliber women that you meet that you're just
Absolutely.
like, whoa, you're intimidating, but I need you to rub off on me a little bit. So
You're borrowing some of her power,
I was borrowing
right?
her power.
I love that.
100%. Yep.
I find it, I feel like she deserves like an extra special shout out because she facilitated 2 cohorts at once.
She did.
So morning classes, evening classes. I'm like, how do you have time for all of this?
I don't know. And she never dropped the ball once.
Nope.
She was absolutely fantastic, always high energy, and kept us on our toes.
You're so lucky.
Kept us in line because apparently our PM class was the rowdy class.
Oh, good.
According to the AM class, anyway. My
They're
thought
too
was
tired.
they just didn't have enough coffee yet. We're
Yeah.
at the end of our day. We're wound up and ready to go. So
That's so good.
yeah.
Desiree, it has seriously been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I hope that anyone who is listening goes out and likes your Facebook page, and
Appreciate that.
eventually she'll be on LinkedIn
Yes.
and Instagram and billboards.
well, okay.
The sky's the limit.
Maybe.
So thank you so much for listening. And if you are interested in learning more about resources through Startup Sioux Falls, you can simply visit startupsiouxfalls.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us for Start Dakota. Visit our website at startupsiouxfalls.com to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please tell a friend to rate our show on iTunes. If you are a founder and aspiring entrepreneur, you can get started by visiting our website at startupsiouxfalls.com/start. Start Dakota is made possible by funding from the U.S. Small Business Administration. With this funding, Startup Sioux Falls is piloting an expanded version of its Co.STARTERS Business Accelerator program and providing additional resources to support underserved founders. Start with Startup Sioux Falls.